Hello dear friends, musicians, staff of the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra and our dedicated and passionate audiences. I really hope you are all well. In these troubled times, each and every one of us is learning to cope with the situation in his own way. But for me, the paramount thing remains to be the positive spirit. Since last week when I sent you my message, nothing much has changed unfortunately, and I'm still seeking refuge in my kitchen, where I would like to invite you again to continue our improvised culinary journey. Hello everyone, this is Raiskin again from my kitchen. Inspired so much by your positive reactions to my modest cooking abilities that I shared with you last week, I thought to create a couple of dishes today, again coming from the region around Mediterranean. One very popular in Israel and one with Italian-Greek twist. So, we will start by cooking some easygoing polenta, an Italian corn porridge. We are taking a cup of polenta and combine it with 3 cups of water. Some people use hot water. I start with cold water. A pinch of salt. We put the fire on and whisk this properly. When it starts to boil, it's important to reduce the heat and put the lid on, because this mixture tends to spit quite a bit. Meanwhile, we're going to turn on our oven to 200 degrees Celsius. Okay, that's it. And now I'm going to make a recipe that I learned when visiting Israel, conducting there from some great friends. It's a very popular dish, an oven roasted eggplants with some really delicious tahini and yogurt sauce. We have here 6 middle-sized or maybe even smaller eggplants, washed. You cut the eggplants in length, preserving the stalk. And now we take a baking tray. And one by one, what we need to do is, with a sharp end of a knife, to make incisions, to carve an eggplant. This is actually the most elaborate process you need to follow for this dish. And one by one, you work your eggplants in a similar way, watching that you do not cut your fingers. Now, when all eggplants are carved, you put them on a baking sheet, and then with some brush and good olive oil, you brush them generously on both sides. First, the upper side, turn around holding on the stalk, brush from behind. When all eggplants are brushed with olive oil on both sides, then you have to generously salt them with some coarse salt. So, after they are salted, you put the tray with eggplants into the middle of the oven and let it be roasted there for about 45 minutes. In the meanwhile, we're going to make a wonderful tahini sauce. For our tahini sauce, I'm using a ready tahina, which you can also make yourselves, but the taste of this one is as good. I use about 5 to 6 teaspoons of ready tahina, half a lemon squeezed into it directly. I am now whisking this together, and you will see it will become a little thicker. So it's getting thicker, and we now add little by little a little water, just to restore the creamy kind of texture. So the texture is becoming really nice and creamy. Now we add some honey. I don't have an exact measurement, so I'm just using little by little. and then taste where I get. It's this combination of zesty tahini and sweetness of honey that makes this sauce really delicious. We also add a little bit of salt. Next one will be a good couple of spoons of Greek yogurt. You can use any kind of yogurt, I guess, but I like this one is creamier and thicker. So when the yogurt is whisked in, you add a little bit of olive oil, some fresh pepper, whisk this all in again. And now, some people like this to be really spicy and add a lot of fresh crushed garlic. In my household, garlic is a somewhat dangerous ingredient because the ladies are not very fond of it. But if I like to use some aroma and not so much garlic itself, what I do, I take 2 cloves and without really crushing them, I put them inside the mixture so that only some aroma and some juice of garlic might come free. And before serving it, I'll take all the garlic away so that the pieces are not in the sauce. So let's check on our polenta. It's getting really nice and thick. So now is the time to add a good bit of butter. And whisk it into our polenta. When it's done, you should leave it for another 5 to 10 minutes. In the meanwhile, our eggplants seem to be ready. Beautiful golden color, roasted to perfection. We take them out and let them cool down. When the eggplants are cooled down, we take them one by one and place them into a nice form. What we just need to do is to put our beautiful tahini sauce on it and to garnish the whole thing. So what I'm doing is a little trick I learned from a friend. You use a zip bag to scoop some of the sauce into the bag. You don't need actually much. This is enough. We close the bag. We'll let all the sauce go to one side. We'll cut a tiny corner away. This is much like using some cream for your pastry. And now you just spread the sauce nicely over your roasted eggplants. Next we use some fresh pomegranate seeds. That adds both color and a wonderful taste. A few leaves of fresh cilantro and a little bit of fresh sesame seeds. A final touch of fresh pepper. And a little bit of olive oil. While our eggplants were in the oven, I tended to our polenta, and when it was ready, I put it into a plastic container with a sheet of plastic foil and let it rest and cool. So what we have now is actually a form that easily should get out of the plastic container. And you take off the foil. You have shaped polenta porridge here. And now we're going to just slightly fry it in olive oil. And you just cut a few portions. When oil is hot, we'll just dust our polenta in some flour. That will create a lovely crust, and we transfer this to our frying pan. So, and now it's time to turn our polenta slices. So I think we are almost done with our polenta. And now we're ready for a final touch. Just putting 2 nice blocks of fried polenta on the plate. I'll take some fresh feta cheese. Even so, Italians use Parmigiano. But I really like this marriage of Italian and Greek flavors. We'll take some parsley leaves, a few drops of olive oil, and here we are, oven roasted eggplants with some beautiful tahini sauce, pomegranate, cilantro and sesame seeds, and fried polenta with feta garnished with parsley. I enjoyed sharing my modest cooking skills with you, and I hope you'll try these dishes and enjoy eating them. Thank you very much.